Yeah, so question one in all CXC papers have to do with the calculations like this. So you'll have fractions, decimals, significant figures, standard form, you name it, right? That's section one for you. So it says using a calculator or otherwise evaluate each of the following, given your answers in exact form. So exact form means that you're not going to approximate it to like any decimal places or anything like that, right? Now we could work this. We're going to do it manually, and then we are going to do it with the calculator too. So how would I do 3 over 2 squared? What does that literally mean? What do you guys think? 3
3
over
over
2
2
squared.
plus 3 over 2.
Multiply. Yeah. So 3 over 2 squared is 3 over 2 times 3 over 2. Any number squared literally means that number multiplied by itself, right? So when you are squaring a fraction, you square the numerator and you square the denominator. So 3 squared is 3 times 3, which is 9. And 2 squared is 2 times 2, which is 4. So 9 quarters, take away 1 plus 6. All right, so that would be, well, 9 quarters is, I mean, we could change all of this to quarters, right? So this will be 9 all over 4, right? So 9 take away, well, 1 whole is 4 quarters, and 6 wholes is 6 times 4, so that's 24. So this would give me 9 take away 4, which is 5. And 5 plus 24 is 29 over 4. You could change that to a mixed number, or you could leave it like that. Let's change it to a mixed number. 29 divided by 4 is 7, remainder 1. So 7 and a quarter. Now let's use our calculators and see what we get for this one. So everybody type it in your calculator and tell me if you get 3, 7 and a quarter, right? So you can actually type in 3 over 2 squared, but you have to put it in brackets as it is expressed here. So you would put open brackets 3 over 2. Do you all know how to enter a fraction on your calculator, guys?
No, miss.
Okay. So what kind of calculator do you have?
Have a sharp.
Okay, good. So do you notice on your calculator you have a key that has A, B over C like this? Can you locate that key on your calculator?
Yes.
Right. So how you enter a fraction. So for example, how you would enter 3 over 2, you would type 3, then press that key, and then press 2. And on your calculator, you would see it listed as 3R2, like this. Check it and let me know if you're seeing that.
Oh, yeah, I see it.
Good. So, I mean, you could do it like piece by piece too. You don't need to enter the whole thing into your calculator. You don't need to enter the whole sum. We could do 3 over 2. So 3 over 2 times 3 over 2. Do that for me, Josh, and tell me what you get.
What'd you say, miss?
Do the 3 over 2 times 3 over 2 and tell me what you get on your calculator. You did it?
Yes, miss. It said error 1.
Okay, so erase everything, press on, so everything will clear.
Yeah.
And then you type in 3, the fraction key, 2, multiply by 3, fraction key, 2.
Or 2, 2
Mm-hmm.
and 1/4.
Right. So now you get 2 and 1/4. So now minus 1 plus 6. And tell me if you get 7 and a quarter.
Yeah.
Good. What about you, Faith? Did you get it? Oh, where did Faith go? Oh, she's now joined back. What about you, Joshua? Did you get it?
Yes, please.
Okay. Faith, were you able to type this in on your calculator, honey?
Yes, Miss. My maths teacher showed us how to write fractions early in the term on the
Oh,
calculator early in the term.
beautiful. Okay, so now let's do this one, right? So for this, all right, you would type literally exactly as it is here on your calculator, right? So you press open brackets 2.1 times 10 over 7. And tell me what you get when you do that. Any one of you tell me. 2.1 times 10 over 7. What is the answer? Anybody got it?
I got 3.
Yeah. What about you, Joshua and Faith? Did you get 3 for 2.1 times 10 over 7?
Yes,
That,
please.
Yes.
yeah, so this part will be 3. So then it's 3 plus 12 divided by 1 and 3/5. But guys, remember, this is multiple operations. And with multiple operations, you have to use the order of operations, right? So recall BODMAS, right? Which means that brackets comes first, which is why we did 2.1 times 10 over 7 first. And now we'll have to do the division part of this problem before we add, right? Because according to our order of operation, division comes before addition. So we'll have to just leave this 3 by itself for the while and work out what is 12 divided by 1 and 3/5. So, Faith, tell me what is 12 divided by 1 and 3/5, please? Twelve divided by 1 and 3/5. I wonder if Faith got bumped out again. Faith, are you there?
Miss, I got 7.5.
Yeah, so it's be 7.5, right? Or 7.5. 7.5 and 7.5 is the same thing. And then, well, now we could add 3 to that, so the answer will be 10.5. Guys, are you okay with that? With this question and typing it in on your calculator?
Yes, miss. From before you finish, I typed in the whole thing on my calculator and I got 10.5.
Oh, beautiful. Wonderful. You can also basically switch between decimal and fraction by just pressing that same fraction key. So if you press if you worked it out on your calculator completely and you got the fraction, it would be 10. It'll appear as 10R1 R2. And if you just press the fraction key again, it will give you what it is in a decimal. All right. Let's see. I think we could do this question. All right, so it says Miranda earns $8,316 per month. She spends 4/7 of her earnings on utility bills, food, and personal items, and saves the remainder. What percentage of her monthly salary does she save? So first of all, if she spends 4/7, what is the remainder that she'll be saving?
3/7.
Correct. She'll be saving 3/7. And now we'll have to represent 3/7 as a percentage, right? So her savings would be 1 whole take away 4/7, which is 3/7. And then there's no need to find 3/7 of 8,316 and then change that to a percentage because it's all the same thing, right? So do you all remember how to change 3/7 to a percentage? Anybody knows how would you change 3/7 to a percentage?
You multiply by 100.
That's right. Correct. So go ahead and multiply by 100 and tell me what you get.
I got 42.857.
That's correct. Right? So let's represent it as a fraction instead, Joshua, because if you realize like it has a lot of decimal points, right? Like decimal places. It's 42.8571428.6. So let's just represent it as a fraction instead. What is it as a fraction? 42 and what? Joshua, do you know how to change it to a fraction on your calculator?
I don't know.
Okay, what kind of calculator do you have?
A sharp
Okay.
cat.
Okay, so the key that you use, so did you type 3 fraction key 7 to get 3R7 times 100? Is that what you typed on your calculator?
Yes, please.
Good. And when you got it, it would show up as 42R6R7.
Pardon?
Is this what showed up when you pressed equal after typing this in?
No, it just gave me like on my calculator I could put the fractions but on it itself.
Okay, well, try again. Try 3 sevens times 100 and see what is your answer. And whatever your answer, if the answer appears as a decimal, just press the fraction key again and it would show you it as a fraction.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, try that and tell me. And it should be 42 and 6 over 7. It would be 42R6R7. So the answer is 42 and 6/7%. Did you get through, Joshua?
Yes, please.
Okay. All right. So it says the portion of her earnings spent on utility bills, food, and personal items is divided in the ratio 5 to 3 to 4, respectively. Calculate the amount of money she spends on personal items. Do you guys have any clue how we would do this part of the question? Josh? Perez? Any idea on how we might do this one?
Miss, you can read over the question. I don't really understand it.
Okay, so it says the portion of her earnings spent on utility bills, food, and personal items is divided in the ratio 5 to 3 to 4, respectively. Calculate the amount of money she spends on personal items. So actually, let's go through this together, right? So it says, let's go up first because do we know how much of her money she spent on utility bills, food, and personal items? Do we know that in the first place?
No, miss, we only know the ratio.
We only know the ratio, but we also know the fraction of her total salary that was spent on utility bills, food, and personal items, right? Because it says Miranda earns, this is how much money she earns, so that's like her salary, and then she spends 4/7 of her salary on those 3 things: bills, food, and personal items. So can I use that information to find out how much is spent on those 3 things?
Yes,
If
miss.
we- What will we do? We can find it out, but how would we calculate it? What would we actually calculate?
Miss, you will calculate the ratio.
Well, before we could calculate the ratio, we need to know how much money is spent on those things because ratio has to do with dividing up the amount of money into different parts, right? But we need to know how much money to begin with. So they told us that she spends 4/7 of her earnings on those 3 things. So based on this information, they tell us they've given us how much money she earns, and they've told us that 4/7 of that is spent on those 3 things. So what would be the calculation to find out the amount of money spent on it? All we know so far is the fraction spent, but how would we find out the actual amount? Any idea?
Yeah, miss, the actual amount she have left out of when after she paid the utility bills. Like how
No.
much money you have, yeah?
No, because the question, right? So first of all, let's look at the question again, right? It says the portion of her earnings spent on utility bills. So the portion of her earnings spent on utility bills, food, and personal items is divided in the ratio 5 to 3 to 4, respectively. Calculate the amount of money she spends on personal items. So to begin with, I need to know what is the portion of her earnings spent on these three things. And they've already given us that information. We don't know the actual figure, but they've told us that out of the $8,316 that she earns, she spends 4/7 on those things. So my question to you guys is, how would we calculate the amount of money spent on those things if we know that's 4/7 of her earnings?
Miss, you multiply 8,316 by 4/7.
That's right, because it's literally here, guys. It literally said she spends 4/7 on those things. So literally 4/7 of 8,316. Of means to multiply. So to find out the actual amount of money spent on that, or in other words, the portion of her earnings spent on those things, we would have to find 4/7 of 8,316. Right? So calculate that for me and tell me what it is. Use your calculator and check 4/7 times 8,316, guys. Tell me what that answer is. Faith, you checked it as yet, honey? Faith, are you there?
Miss,
Miss, I got 4,752.
Okay. And who? Somebody. Was that Josh?
yeah, miss. Is it? Obi, no, I typed in wrong numbers. Wait.
Okay. What about you, Joshua? Did you type it in?
Yes, please.
What did you get?
I have 4,752.
Right. So Faith, that's what you got too, yeah? 4,752.
Yeah.
Okay. Josh Perez, you got that as well?
Yes, miss.
Perfect. So this is now we know the amount of money she spends on bills, food, and personal items. And now they're telling us that it is divided in the ratio of 5 to 3 to 4, respectively. Don't know how much you'll remember about ratios, but ratios have to do with how something is split up or how something is shared, right? So basically, you can interpret this as, well, you have 5 parts of the money spent on utility bills, 3 parts of it spent on food, and 4 parts spent on personal items. So you could think about it in terms of fractions, right? So a ratio that is 5 to 3 to 4 would the total number of parts here, because you have 5 parts, 3 parts, and 4 parts. What would be the total number of parts here? So 5 parts plus 3 parts plus 4 parts. How many parts is that?
Well,
12, right? So it means that I could represent this as 5 over 12, 3 over 12, and 4 over 12, right? And this is the way that she spent her money. So 5/12 of it was spent on utility bills, 3/12 was spent on food, and 4/12 was spent on personal items. And they would like us to calculate the amount of money spent on personal items. So we'll be looking at this fraction of the money that she's spending on those items. So we do 4/12 of 4,752, and that would give us our answer. So y'all work it out and tell me what you get. 4/12, which is the same as 1/3, sorry, of 4,752.
Miss, I got 1,584.
I got that as well. What about you boys? Did you get 1,584?
Yes, miss.
Yes, Miss.
Okay, so that question was with 2 marks. All right, so let's go back and just look at it again, right? So it said the portion of her earnings spent on utility bills, food, and personal items is divided in the ratio 5 to 3 to 4, respectively. Respectively means in this exact order. So 5 would represent the utility bills, 3 represents the food, and 4 represents the personal items. But in order to work out the full question, we had to get a few things first, which is one, well, what that portion really was, because all we knew what fraction it was of her total salary. But with that information, you could figure out the actual dollar value or the actual amount of money by doing 4/7 times her salary, which we worked out to be 4,752. And then now we could move on to solving the amount of money spent on personal items because we know the ratio in which this money, this portion of money, was divided into utility bills, food, and personal items. It was 4 out of 12, right? Now, to interpret the ratio, we thought of it as fractions. So, in terms of parts, first of all, 5 parts on utility bills, 3 parts on food, and 4 parts on personal items. So, the total number of parts that she divided her money into, well, you just add up the individual ratios. So 5 plus 3 plus 4, which is 12. And therefore, 5/12 would represent the amount of money spent on utility bills. 3/12 would be the amount of money spent on food, and 4/12 is dedicated to personal items, which we need to find out the actual amount of money. So we did 4/12 of the total portion of money to get our answer 1,584. Now let's look at this part. It says Miranda saves the same amount of money each month. Show that her annual savings from her earnings is 42,768. So we need to go back up and see if we know how much money or the fraction of the money saved each month, right? So let's go back up. Look at here, right? Remember, the amount saved is 3/7 or 42 and 66/7% of her earnings. All right. So I'll use the fraction instead to find out the amount of money she saves each month. So if she saves 3/7 of her money, to find out the actual value that would be, we would need to find 3/7 of 8,316. So let's do that. Savings would be 3/7 of, so this is monthly savings actually. Monthly savings would be 3/7 of 8,316. Work that out for me, guys.
Miss, I got 3,564.
Yeah, I got that as well. What about Faith and Joshua? 3,564.
Yes,
Yes,
Miss,
Miss.
I got that.
Good. So if this is her monthly savings, guys, how would you calculate annual savings if she saves 3,564 each month?
Miss, you multiply 3,564 by 12
That's right. Why are we multiplying it by 12?
because there are 12 months in the year and we already have 1 month.
Correct. So go ahead, do that for me. Did you get this value? $42,768.
Yes, miss.
Yes,
Correct.
Miss.
Right? So we write QED, meaning that it's proven, right? Because the question tells us to show that it was, that's what her annual savings would be. And that's how you would show it. When you have to do a proof or any question that says show, you work it out just to show that the solution is the same that they got. Well, at least the answer is the same. All right. So let's look at this question. She invests the $42,768 in her credit union, which pays compound interest of 5% per annum. What is the total interest earned after 2 years? The final amount, A, when principal P is invested, compound interest at rate R for n numbers of years is given by amount is equal to principal multiplied by 1 plus R over 100 raised to the power of n. So this is the formula to calculate the final amount when using compound interest. All right, guys? So let's first identify what these values are. The question is just asking us for the total interest, not the total amount of money she earned, but the total interest after 2 years. So what we can do is we could find out the final amount that she would earn after the 2 years, and then subtract her investment from that, and that would give us the interest. Right? Because whatever extra that she earned will be the interest that she would have accumulated over the 2 years. So before we begin, let's identify what the principal, the rate, and n would be, the number of years, right? So what is the principal in this question, guys? What was her initial investment? That's what the principal refers to. P.
42,768.
And then, Joshua, what is the rate? R.
The rate is 5%.
Right, so the rate is 5%. And then, Josh, P, what is the number of years? N. Perez, that's you, Lovey. What's the number of years?
2.
Right, so N is 2. So now we just we substitute these values into the formula, right? So her final amount that she would have earned after the 2 years will be 42768 multiplied by 1 plus. Now you could write 5% as 5 over 100, or you could write it as a decimal as 0.05, however you want to do it. But I'm just going to write it exactly as they stated it here in the formula. So I'll put 5 over 100. All raised to the power of n, which is 2. All right? So type that in on your calculator. Here's what you're doing. Are you all seeing there's a key on your calculator that has x to the power of 2 like that? That's the square. That's how you square a number, by just pressing the number and then pressing that key. So you could type this in exactly as is on your calculator. 42768, open brackets, 1 plus 5 over 100, close brackets, square sign, and then press equal. All right. So Joshua, tell me what you get when you do it. Each of you tell me. Tell me first. I want to hear what each of you got when you type this in on your calculator. Joshua, you did it as yet?
I'm still doing it.
Okay, anybody finished as yet? Josh, Perez, you got it?
About 2.
All right. Let me know when you got it. What about you, Faith? You got it as yet?
Miss, how do I put the power symbol?
Press the key that has x2 like this. X to the power of 2. You see it?
Yeah. Okay.
And then press equal.
Wait, I have to make it the decimal.
Yeah.
I got 4,715. Wait. 471,000. Wait. Am I reading? 47,151.72.
Yeah, I got that too. What about you, Faith and Joshua? Did you get that?
Yes,
Joshua.
miss.
Joshua, what about you?
Yeah, I got it's 47,000
Yeah.
100.
This Joshua, $47,151.72.
Yes, please.
Okay, so guys, that is the final, that's the total amount of money that is in her account after the 2 years. But the question is not asking us for the total amount of money in the account. The question is asking us for the total interest. So the total interest will be the difference in the total amount or the final amount after the 2 years, and her initial investment. So what would that answer be? How would I calculate that? The interest. Well, I basically just told you all what it is. I told you all it's a difference. What does the difference mean? Josh, what does the difference mean?
Miss, you're subtracting 47,151.72 from the original price.
Well, yeah.
Investment.
Yeah, because interest, it will be the amount minus the principal, right? So this value that we just calculated minus her initial investment. So that is, did anybody get $4,473.72? Faith,
Yes, Miss, I got that.
got that? What about you? Well, the two Joshes, did you all get it? $4,473.72.
Yes, miss.
Okay. Joshua, what about you?
Yes, please.
Okay. Good. So we'll actually, I'm just gonna do question one. Question two, in the CSEC paper is based on algebra. So things like factorizing and that sort of thing. So let's do another one. So this was May, June 2025. So these were the actual questions from this day that we just went through. It says using a calculator or otherwise, determine the value of 2/3 of 1/8 plus 5/12 divided by 1/9, given your answer in exact form. Again, we have to use BODMAS, right? By the laws of BODMAS, the order of operations, brackets come first, then exponents or order. Order stands for like exponents or indices. So if you have any indices there, like anything raised to the power of 2, 3, 4, whatever, you have to work that out before you divide, then you multiply, or whichever one comes first. And then addition or subtraction, right? So even within the brackets here, you would still need to work out the division part first. So you would work out what's 5/12 divided by 1/9 before you add 1/8. So you would not do 1/8 plus 5/12 divided by 1/9. That's not how you would do it. You would work out what's 5/12 divided by 1/9 first, and then add that to 1/8. And then, of course, of means to multiply. So you're going to be finding 2/3 times, 1/8 plus, I'm going to put an additional pair of brackets here just to show you that that's what we're doing first. 5/12 divided by 1/9. Right? So that is the order in which you will do this question, right? So let's go. So 2/3 times, I'm not doing anything to the 1/8 as yet. I'm not adding that 1/8 as yet. I'm going to work out 5/12 divided by 1/9. What is 5/12 divided by 1/9? Check on your calculator and tell me. 5/12 divided by 1/9. Josh, Perez, did you check it?
Miss, I got an error.
Try again. 5/12 divided by 1/9. Faith, did you get it?
Oh, Miss, I got 3 3/4.
Right. What about you, Faith and Joshua? Is it 3 3/4?
Yes, please.
All right. So now we can add that to the 1/8. So Joshua, do the 1/8 plus 3 3/4 and tell me what it is, please. Joshua, what is 1/8 plus 3 3/4?
1/8.
This part, 1/8 plus 3 3/4.
I got in an error bit.
Right, so try again. Clear your calculator and try it again. 1/8 plus 3 3/4. Did you get it, Azia?
Yes, please, Miss. 15 over 32.
15 over 32. 1/8. No. How did you type 3 3/4 on your calculator? Did you press 3 fraction key, 3 fraction key R?
No, I just put my calculator. I could just put the fractions in.
Oh, okay. So you got 15 over 32
Yes, please.
as the final answer or just as 1/8 plus 3 3/4?
As the final answer.
Oh, you did the, okay, no, I wanted to know what was 1/8 plus 3 3/4. So that's 3 7/8. And then that times 2/3 will be actually 2 7/12. Okay, so Joshua, I think you did something wrong somewhere. Check what is 1/8 plus 3 3/4 again for me and tell me what that is. Not multiplying by 2/3, just 1/8 plus 3 3/4. Faith and Josh, did you get 3 7/8 when you added 1/8 to 3 3/4?
Yeah.
Okay. What about you, Josh?
Oh, Miss, I didn't know how to add them.
You didn't add them, or you didn't know how to,
No, I didn't. I
or you
forgot.
didn't? Okay. So let's see if we type in the entire thing on the calculator, if we get the same thing. So, Joshua, did you check it over? 1/8 plus 3 3/4.
Wait, I'm supposed to give it to you enough. Like I got in a decimal inside of a fraction.
Well, what decimal did you get?
I got 0.59.
No, that's not correct. Because, so let's scrap this down and start all over, right? So let's try just typing the whole thing on our calculators. 2/3 times, open brackets, 1/8 plus 5/12 divided by 1/9. And see, type that whole thing into your calculator, guys. The whole 2/3 times 1/, open brackets, you need to use your brackets, 1/8 plus 5/12 divided by 1/9. And everybody, I'm going to ask each of you to tell me your answer in 1 minute. You type in the whole thing into your calculator. Okay, Faith, what did you get as your answer? Faith, did you type
Miss,
it?
I got the
Mhm.
same thing you have, 2 and 7 over 12.
Okay, what about you, Josh Perez? What did you get?
I got 2 and 7 over 12.
All right, and Joshua?
I got 31 over 12.
31 over 12. Yeah, that's the same thing because 2 times 12 is 24. 24 plus 7 is 31. So it'll be 31 over 12. That's the same answer. Okay, good. All right, try this one for me. Tell me the answer, and then we will represent it in standard form. Everyone, 314.2 minus 26,082 divided by 52,164. You could type it in as a fraction, you could do it as division, but if you're doing it as division, you'd have to put brackets around it, just to be safe in case your calculator malfunctions and does not automatically do BODMAS. I'm going to put it exactly as is. So I'm going to use the fraction key. All right, Faith, what did you get?
I'm not finished yet.
Okay. Don't give the answer in standard format, just give me the answer to the question, to the 314.2 minus 26082 over 52164. Josh Perez, have you done it yet?
About 2.
Joshua, did you do it as yet?
Yes, please. I got
Mhm.
thir thir 313.7.
Oh, yeah, Miss Peter. I got 300.7.
313.7. Faith, what did you get?
Same thing, 313.
0.7, right? Not just 313.
Yeah, 0.7.
Okay, right. So 313.7 is the answer. And if we have to write this in standard form, it means we need to write it as a number between 1 and 10 multiplied by a power of 10. So to write this as a number between 1 and 10, this decimal point would really have to be between the first 3 and the 1. So it will be 3.137 multiplied by 10 to the power of 2, right? Now, remember that your standard form expression has to be equal to whatever this number is, right? So I always check it back to see if my answer is correct by just typing this into the calculator. So I want to type back into my calculator 3.137 times, well, 10 to the power of 2 is 100. So you could literally just type that in, or you could do 10 squared and see if you get back the 313.7. So 3.137 times 100 does in fact give me 313.7. So I know that my answer is correct. So to represent this answer in standard form, it will be 3.137 times 10 to the power of 2. All right, this question actually had an error. So this question was canceled from the entire paper this year because there was an error on it. Right, so calculate the value of the square root of 7.1 squared plus 2.9 squared. So For this, you have to, if you're going to type it in directly into your calculator, you have to do something like you have to put an extra pair of brackets. So my suggestion is to actually just do it in parts, right? So we would let's first find let's work out what's inside the square root sign first. So 7.1 squared will be, to type 7.1 squared, you could either, to calculate 7.1 squared, you could either do 7.1 times 7.1, or you could type 7.1 and then press the square symbol to get your answer. Faith, what is 7.1 squared? Faith, are you there? 7.1 squared? Where?
50.41.
50.41, okay. And Josh, what is 2.9 squared? Josh Perez is who I'm speaking to. 2.9 squared.
8.41.
8.41. All right, so then let's work out what is the sum of 50.41 plus 8.41. Josh, check that for me, please, Joshua. 50.41 plus 8.41. What is that equal to?
It will be 58.82.
Good. 58.82. So on your calculators, guys, you could just, are you seeing the square root symbol? It's literally a key that has a square root symbol on it. You guys seeing it? Square root symbol. So you type in square root symbol 58.82 and tell me your answer. It says to give your answer correct to two significant figures. So before you give it to me, just give me the answer as is on your calculator.
Excuse me, I don't see it. I only see the pi symbol. That's the only thing I
You're only
see.
seeing what?
The pi symbol. That's the closest thing to it.
So the first line, the first row of keys has HYP, SIN, COS, TAN, pi, DRG. That's what your first row of buttons have.
It has HYPSIN
Right.
COS.
So below that row, it should
Mm-hmm.
have Y to the power of X like this. You see that one?
Mm-hmm.
And then right next to it, you're not seeing this?
No, miss. Right next to that is X to the power of 2.
Okay, and above the X to the power of 2, are you seeing written in like another color this?
No, miss. Oh, wait.
All right.
A little above it, yeah.
Yeah, so what you would have to press is second function. So those values, those little ones written above them, those are the values that you could get if you press second function. So for you, Josh, you would have to press second function, the key that has the square root symbol above it, and you should see the square root symbol come up on your screen. Did it work?
Yes, miss. I got the square root of 58.8.
Okay, so what you got?
I got 7.669.
Good. So it's 7.6694 and a bunch of other numbers, right? What about you, Faith and Joshua? Did you all get this as well?
Yes,
7
miss.
point. Good.
Yes,
So
sir.
it says the two significant figures. So two significant figures, remember, the first significant figure is the first non-zero digit. So the first non-zero digit here is 7. So that would be your first significant figure. And then 6 is your second significant figure. So we're gonna round this off to basically one decimal place. So the same rules that you use for rounding off to decimal places is the same rule that you would use for rounding off to significant figures once you've located the position of the second significant figure. So the position of the second significant figure is here. The 6 is the second significant figure. So you look at the digit right after. And since this is more than 5, you would have to add 1 to the digits in the second significant figure, please. So this answer would actually be 7.7. Okay, and now it says to round the answer off to 2 decimal places. Faith, which digit is in the second decimal place in the number 7.6694? Which one is in the second decimal place?
6.
The first six or the second six?
The second one.
Correct. So if we have to round it off to the second decimal place, you look at the digits in the third decimal place, and if it's 5 or more, we would add 1 to the sixth. So should we add 1 to the sixth?
Yes.
Yep. So the final answer will be 7.67. Beautiful. Guys, how would we write the following quantities in ascending order? How would you do it?
I would change all of them to percentages.
Yeah, you could definitely change all of them to percentages. The rule is that you just need to change all of them to one common type of number. So either decimals, fractions, percentages, whatever. So, okay, if you're changing it to percentages, what would 12 over 25 be as a percentage, Faith? Faith, what would 12 over 25 be as a percentage?
48%.
Right? Because you'll say 12 over 25 times 100 over 1, which is 48. So 12 over 25 is 48%. What is 0.46 as a percent?
46%.
Good. And then, well, 47% is just 47%. So you could either do it like that, or you could have changed all of them to decimals, right? If you're changing them all to fractions, they would have to be fractions with the same denominator, right? So we already have it as percentages. So ascending order means what, guys? Is it largest to smallest or smallest to largest?
Smallest to largest.
Good. So what's the smallest of the three here?
46%.
Which is?
46%.
Which is this one, right? 0.46. So
yeah.
you'll have to write your answer in the format that they gave it to you in. So you wouldn't write 46% over here, you would write 0.46, right? What comes next?
47%.
Yes. And then finally, 12 over 25. This is questions that they get in SE. They get this in SE, these sets of questions. Okay. Mahendra and Jaya shared $7,224 in the ratio 7 to 5. How much more money does Mahindra receive than Jaya? What fraction of the money would Mahindra receive, guys? If the ratio is 7 to 5, what fraction would Mahindra receive?
7 over 12.
That's right. And the fraction that Jaya receives is
5 over 12.
5 over 12. Josh, Perez, and Joshua, do you all understand why? It's 7 over 12 for Mahindra and 5 over 12 for Jaya.
Yes, please.
Okay. Josh, what about you?
Kind of.
Well, the reason is that to get the fraction in terms of the ratio, it's exactly like we did it before. If you have a ratio 7 to 5, this literally means 7 parts and 5 parts. So the total number of parts would be 7 plus 5, which is 12. So I could represent the ratio as fractions as well, for the first one being 7/12 and the second one being 5/12. So Josh, what about if I had a ratio of 3 to 4? What two fractions would that represent? 3 to 4. What fraction would the 3 represent and what fraction would the 4 represent? Josh? Oh, I don't know what's happening. I'm not hearing him at all. Josh, can you hear me? Right. So what fraction would this represent? If it's a ratio of 3 to 4, which fraction would the 3 represent? 3 out of what? Josh, I don't know if you're speaking, but if you are, I'm not hearing you. So you might actually need to type it. Not 3/4, it'll be so to find out what the denominator is, you have to add the two numbers because this literally means 3 parts and this means 4 parts. So the total number of parts would be 3 plus 4, which is 7. So if a ratio is 3 to 4, then the 3 represents 3 out of 7, and the 4 represents 4 out of 7. All right, what about Josh? If it was a ratio of 2 to 6, what fraction would the 2 represent and what fraction would the 6 represent? You could try to talk on your mic or you could type it because I'm not hearing you. I'm not sure if I'm hearing you now. Yeah,
Be 6 plus 2 would be 8.
right. So the fraction, the first 2 would represent, sorry, the first part,
2 over 8 and
yes.
6 over 8.
6 over 8. Good. So it means that with Mahindra and Jaya, if they're sharing the money in a ratio of 7 to 5, then Mahindra's portion would be 7 out of 12, and Jaya's portion would be 5 out of 12. All right. So how much more does Mahindra receive than Jaya? What fraction? If Mahindra gets 7/12 and Jio gets 5/12, what fraction? How much more does Mahindra get than Jio?
2.
2 what? Because if it's a fraction, it has to be 2 over something, right?
2 over 12.
2 over 12. So Mahindra gets 2/12 more, which is the same as 1/6. 2 into 2, 1, and 2 into 12 is 6. So Mahindra gets 1/6 more. All right. And if we want to find out how much money 1/6 represents, we can literally just do Faith, how would we find out that? How much money is 1/6 of 7,224?
You just multiply 1/6 by 7,224.
Good. So 1/6 times 7,224. Work it out for me. Joshua, work this out for me and tell me what's the answer, please. Joshua, can you work this out for me, please? 1/6 of 7,224.
Is 1,204.
Correct. So Mahindra gets $1,204 more. There's another way you could have solved it. You could literally find what Mahindra gets. So you could have done 7/12 of 7/12 of 7,224 minus 5/12 of 7,224. And you'll get the same answer, 1,204. Okay. The present population of Portmouth is 550,000. It is expected that this population will increase by 42% by the year 2030. Write the number 550,000 in standard form. Guys, do you know how to do that? How to write 550,000 in standard form? Josh, I know you are doing that in school right now. Do you know how to write 550,000 in standard form?
Yes, miss.
Or what would it be, love?
Hold on, I have to do it in my book. I can't really
Okay.
speak it.
That's no problem.
Right. 5.5
Yeah.
multiplied by 10 to the power of 5.
10 to the power of 5. Let's see. 10 to the power of 5. So of course you could check it on your calculator. You could press 5.5 times 10. And how do you write 10 to the power of 5 on your calculator? You press 10, and then you see that key that has y to the x. You press that key, and it would come up as, it would show as this. On your screen, it would show as this. And this little arrow means raise to the power of. So then you press 5, and you'll get 550,000. This is correct, Josh. Good job. Did you try typing 10 to the power of 5 on your calculator, by the way?
No, miss.
Try it for me now. Do you see in the key the y to the power of x key?
Yeah.
Right. So to press 10 to the power of 5, you would press 10. You press, well, 1, 0, because you don't have a key that has 10. So you would press 1, 0, and then this key, y to the power of x, and then 5. Press it and tell me what you get.
Yeah, miss, I got 550,000.
Perfect. The others? You all know how to do it? To get
Yeah.
10 to the power of 5? Okay, good. All right. So first time, whenever they ask you for a question in standard form, always check it back on your calculator to make sure you get the original value to know if your standard form is correct. Okay, so calculate the expected population of Portsmouth in 2030. The present population is 550,000. It is expected that the population will increase by 42%. So what would be the expected population? Do you guys know how to solve this question? How would I calculate the expected population? Any ideas? Josh or Faith, Joshua, any ideas on how we would calculate the expected population?
You multiply, well, you turn 42, well, you multiply 42 by 5,000. Wait, how you say that? 550,000. And then you add that to the original.
Yeah, so you could do it that way. You could find what's 42% of 550,000, or you could and then add that because you would know you find what the percentage represents first. So what is 42% of that? And then you add it back to the 550,000. Or you can do just well, if it's a percentage increased by 42%, it means the new population would be 142% of the original population. So you could also find 142% of 550,000. So we could either do method 1, we could do what Faith said, so 42% of 550,000. Right? So 42% is 0.42. There's also a key on your calculator that you could use for percentage. But anyway, 42% is 0.42 times 550,000, which will give you 231,000. All right. And then you add that to the 550,000. That is definitely correct. 550,000 plus 231. That would give me 781,000, right? Or you can do for percentage increase, you just add the increase to 100% and calculate that full thing of 550,000. So the population in Portsmouth in 2030 would be worth 142% of the original value. So 142 over 100, right? Or 1.42, however you want to write it, right? times 550,000, and you would realize that you get the same answer. Josh, work this out for me. 142 over 100 times 550,000. And tell me if you get the same 781,000. Oh, Josh is on a break. Joshua, can you check 142% of 550,000 and see if you get 781,000?
You said 142,000%?
142% of 550,000.
Okay. Yes, please.
Yeah. So that's another way that you could get the answer for a percentage increase question. And if it was a percentage decrease, then you would minus the decrease from 100. So like, for example, if it had decreased by 42%, it means the new value would be worth 68% of the original amount. So this would be 781, right? So that's the answer. Any one of the methods will give you the same solution. So it would be 1 over 30 plus 4 over 15, according to my calculator, is 3/10. And 1 take away 3/10 is 7 over 10. So guys, you see how it says in its simplest form, right? That means that if this fraction could have been reduced, you would have needed to reduce it. So like, for example, if it was 8 over 10, you would have to reduce that to 4 over 5, right? Because that would be the simplest form. All right, let us look at question B here. Oops, why did I erase the answer? 7 over 10. Let me just write this over because that's not looking good. 3 over 10. Okay. A two-story car park has a total of 1,020 parking spaces. At 630 hours, so that's 6:30 a.m., one morning, 1/30th of the 1,020 spaces are filled. During the next hour, no cars left, but another 4/15 of the 1,020 spaces are filled. Determine the number of parking spaces that are not filled at 730 hours. Okay, I want you all to try it for me. And same thing, send me the answer in the chat. I'm going to pause the recording. Right, so look here, right? It says, if you realize this question is 1 takeaway, 1/30th plus 4/15, and in this question, 1/30th plus 4/15 of the car spaces were filled. So in other words, 7/10 were not filled, right? If 1/30th and 4/15 are filled, then 7/10 are not filled because 1/30th plus 4/15 is 3/10. So you could have just found out what is 7/10 of 1020. Anybody did it this way? Which would actually give you 714. 7 times 102, which is 714. How come you all got 715? Josh, you got 715? How come?
Yeah, Miss, I accidentally put 700 and I accidentally misclicked the 5. I meant to put 4, sorry.
Oh, you meant 4. What about you, Joshua?
I put 714.
Oh, okay, cool. Good. So 714 is the answer. Faith, where did you go wrong, honey?
I mess up and instead of 7/10, I put the wrong thing.
Oh, okay. All right. So you could have also, another way that you could have solved the question, you could have done 1/30th of 1020 and then 4/15ths of 1020. Find the sum of that and subtract it from 1020. But that's a lot of working for a question that's only worth 1 mark, especially since the first part of it kind of helps you with the second part. Okay, of the 1020 parking spaces, 20% are on the top level. How many parking spaces are on the top level? Work it out, send me your answer. For 20% of 1020 would be 20% is 20 over 100 or 0.2 multiplied by 1020, which will give you 204 spaces. Okay. Some of the spaces are reserved for monthly paying customers. The ratio of reserved spaces to non-reserved spaces is 5:7. Okay, Josh, because you were the one that I explained ratios to just now individually, I want you to tell me what fraction would be represented. Well, what fraction would non-reserved spaces be? So the ratio is from reserved spaces to non-reserved spaces. 5 for the reserved, 7 for the non-reserved. So what fraction would be the non-reserved?
Which one is the non-reserved?
7, because the ratio is literally if it says the ratio of reserved to non-reserved, the ratio of the first number represents reserved and the second number would represent non-reserved. So what fraction would represent non-reserved spaces?
7 over 12.
Excellent. So to calculate the number of non-reserved spaces, it would be 7 over 12 times 1020. Josh, work it out and tell me what the answer, please. 7 over 12 times 1020.
595.
Correct. 595 is correct. There are 595 non-reserved parking spaces. Okay, so the cost of parking at the car park is shown in the table below. Under 30 minutes, it's free. More than 30 minutes and up to 2 hours, it's $2.25. More than 2 hours and up to 4 hours is $5.50. More than 4 hours and up to 8 hours is $9.25. And then more than 8 hours and up to 24 hours would be $15. A 1 week ticket is $40. All right. So I'm going to ask you all some questions based on this table. I'm starting with you, Joshua. If I spend 1.5 hours, how much money would I have to pay if I spend 1.5 hours?
You will spend $2.25.
Perfect. Faith, if I spend 4 hours and 15 minutes, how much money would I have to pay?
$9.25.
And Josh, if I spend 10 minutes, how much would I have to pay?
It'll be free.
Yes, it will be free. All right. So it says Michaela leaves the car park at 1830 hours. So that's the 24-hour clock. 1800 hours is 6 p.m. So 1830 would be 6:30. Right. So Michaela leaves the car park at basically 6:30 p.m. and pays $9.25. Determine the earliest time she could have arrived at the car park. So to pay $9.25, guys, how much time would she have spent? Which category would she have fallen in? How much time would it be if she paid $9.25?
4 hours and up to 8 hours.
Good. So we're looking at this category here, right? So it says what's the earliest time she could have arrived? So would it be the 4 hours before or 8 hours before if we're looking at the earliest time? Would we be looking at 4 hours before or 8 hours before?
8.
8, right? Because the longer time would be pushing it back even earlier. So we'll have to check what is 8 hours. Well, what is 1830? Take away 8 hours, right? So 18, it always makes sense to use the 24-hour clock when you're minusing more than like, if you're looking at 6:30 to minus 8 hours from that, it would make sense to use the 24-hour clock. So 1830 take away 8 hours would be 10:30. So the earliest time that she could have arrived at the car park is 10:30 a.m. Right? Danraj bought a weekly parking ticket for $40. That week, he visited the car park 5 different times. The length of time he parked his car on each occasion is given below. First, he spent 25 minutes, then 7.5 hours, then, hold on, let me just zoom out here. Right. Then 11 hours, 8.75 hours, and 8 hours show that Danraj saved $8.50 by buying the weekly ticket. So for the 25 minutes, Josh, how much would he have paid for that for the 25-minute period?
Free, miss?
Nothing, right? So he would have paid $0 there. Joshua, for the 7.5 hours, how much would he have had to pay?
You will have to pay $9.25.
$9.25 is correct. Faith, how much would he have had to pay if he stayed for 11 hours?
You would have to pay $15.
Yep, $15. And then 8.75 hours. Josh, how much would he pay for 8.75 hours?
Hold on. $9.25.
Well, it's 8.75. So is that more than 8 hours
Wait,
or less than 8 hours?
more than 8 hours.
Right. So look at the table again and see how much you would have to pay for more than 8 hours.
Oh, $15.
$15. And then finally, for 8 hours alone, he would have to pay that $9.25. So basically, you got to add up all of those. I just want to write this over because it's just not giving me enough space within this area here. So for the 25 minutes, so it was $0. And then for 7.5 hours, it was $9.25. 11 hours is $15. 8.75 hours is $15. And then 8 hours is $9.25. So we finally sum there, right? So that would be, y'all work that out for me. 9.25 plus 15 plus 15 plus 9.25. And tell me what you got. This that I just worked out is cost, total cost. Josh, what did you get when you added up all of these?
I'm still doing it. I made a mistake, so I had to restart.
Okay. Josh, what did you work it out as yet? Joshua, have you worked it out as yet?
Yes, please, is for the 8.50.
Yeah, $48.50. Joshua, let me know if you got that.
I got
$48.50. Good. So that would be how much he had to pay if he was paying individually, right? But If he bought a weekly ticket, then he would have paid $40. So therefore, the savings would be the amount he would have paid for individual times, $48.50, take away the amount that he would have paid if he bought a 1 week ticket, which is $40. And that is equal to $48.50 take away 40 is $8.50. So there we go. We've shown it. We're going to stop there for today, guys.